So this was our first step of finishing up the breeding stall for the laying chickens that we're building. That way I can keep the hens separated out so I know I'm getting pure bloodlines for our flock. I like to call this my lumber store because whatever I need I can come down here to the sawmill and cut, you know, relatively cheap or no cost if I'm cutting our timber off the farm here. So I need a few boards. One of those boards is 1 inch thick, and that's only because I can only go within 1 inch of the cutting deck on the sawmill. The rest of them's 3/4 inch thick because this is just going to be going on the upper portion to be able to keep varmints and critters from going inside the coop. So instead of using metal, I figured I'd use this because it was free. So this is the first side exterior of the area we're going to use for a breeding coop. We've already got this one side done, and on the second side I've already got the wire up. I'm going to have to move these corral panels over because originally we had the sheep in here and Piglet, and they had run this whole thing, but since I'm working in this area now, I'm gonna have to move them over so I can work on the outside edge of the coop. Those pieces we was cutting at the sawmill are for this top area here. We'll just take and board and batten this across here, and then the bottom of it here will receive metal like the other side. And at that point I'll hang this gate and leave this as a stall for the sheep. We're probably going to leave her in here this winter just for the fact we don't have any shelter out in the field right now that would suffice for her. And then the little Piglet is up and doing really good now. She's actually growing real well, walking fine on her back legs. She was almost taken to the back pasture because she wouldn't get up, and it was kind of ironic. When I told her I was going to take her to the back pasture that day, she got up that day, so it made me wonder how much of it was real as fake. I know it was just coincidence and she didn't understand me, but it was awful coincidental that when she was going to back pasture, she got up and started doing better. And there'll probably be quite a bit of noise in the video because we've still got the sows in this holding pen with Big Nasty. In our last video we introduced him. You can see they're all doing really well. It's kind of opposite now. He's aggravating all of them versus them aggravating him. He's asserting his dominance and seeing which ones are going to be coming into heat. But anyways, at our video at hand, we're going to be finishing up this side of the coop, and we're going to try to get the front done. I've got to sink a 4x4 post somewhere in here and run it up. That way we can make our doorway, and then this front section here will be done like the rest of the coop. And this is to prevent any predators or anything be able to get into the chickens while we've got them in there. And we're going to be specifically using this for breeding purposes. We've got our roosters separated away from our hens, so all of our hens are infertile at the moment. So we're going to put the first round of chickens in here. We're going to be black Australorps. And we don't have quite enough black Australorps to be able to set the incubator in a timely manner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the black Australorps we have in here, and then a few extra of the red sex links. And I know that'll be a crossbreed, but it'll still be a good brown egg layer regardless. It'll just be a mixed breed, but that'll fill the void in the incubator because it takes 21 days for eggs to incubate. I want to make sure the incubator's full and we're just not running half or 3/4 capacity. And plus, the more eggs you have in the type of incubator we're using, the temperature holds balance more. And you know, I'm shooting for about a 60% hatch rate. Anything over that would be phenomenal, and 60% itself would be phenomenal. But we always hope for the best. So after we get the chickens in here, we'll show you from start to finish, from the coop here to putting them in, getting them set up to breed, and then all through the hatch process, and you'll get to see the final outcome be the chicks, and eventually they'll be in our main flock of brown egg layers. All right, we're back out here on the brooder. I ain't got to take as much footage as I wanted to because my GoPro battery had died. But so I've got some of the stuff pre-cut. Basically all I done is took those 3/4 inch boards and I figured them on the slope of the roof, which is a 210. I went ahead and pre-cut all these, so hopefully they all fit well. I don't have enough cut here to do the complete width, but we're gonna have to go back to sawmill and cut a few more boards to make sure we got enough. You have to excuse all the noise. The pigs are in the midst of a breeding period, or whatever you want to call it, but Big Nasty's keeping all the sows riled up and it's causing a lot of noise. But we've got sheep's pen and piglet's pen temporarily moved over so I can get in this space to work on the pen here. And before we put these up, I've got to come in here. I've got this board here, but my next rafter over is too far, so I've got to pair a board from here to the top so it gives us a plane to work off of. We're going to be using a Milwaukee cordless nailer. This is fairly new to us. We ordered it brand new. I've always used pass load, and thus far this gun's just a little bit heavier than a pass load, but it drives a nail far better than a pass load. And I don't have to buy the fuel tanks anymore. It only runs off this battery pack, which is phenomenal, because anytime I get in the middle of a project like this, it never fails, I run out of gas. And usually I keep a tube around, but it's nice not having to spend 13 bucks a pop on fuel cells now. We can just recharge the battery and we're good to go. We're gonna try to nail this up without dropping it on ourselves. I'll tell you what, we're just gonna sit down here. I'm gonna go nail the far end up because the bottom can rest. It's a little hard when you're doing these things by yourself. You gotta improvise. Make sure we don't drop the other end like that. And this don't have to be perfect, it's just a guide for the boards to nail. Now when I nailed that there, I've got it on the single fire mode. You could put it on rapid fire mode by changing it over. And basically every time you push off, you're gonna have something to Alright, so that's in place. We'll swap out the nail. Now one thing I did do on this nailer, it comes with a shorter rack than that's in it right now. And I bought the extended magazine so you can hold two full, of course pigs are gonna act a fool, but you can hold two full clips of nails, and that saves a tremendous amount of time over the pass load. Now I have not mocked these up. We should be going from the bottom of this board to roughly the bottom of that rat run, and I've just did all my figuring based on the pitch of the roof. We're gonna put one nail in this, and then I'm gonna grab my level, make sure we look decent, if I can find a level. It's because my level's not back where it's supposed to be. Alright, we're back. Right there is pretty plumbing, or level rather. So with that rapid fire mode, all I do is hold the trigger down, and as soon as I push the head in, it goes ahead and fires the next round, which is a nice feature to have. Oh, come on, pigs. And that slope is working out very well just to be figuring off the pitch of the roof. I did figure for a little bit of overlap there, which won't hurt a thing. It's working out quite nice. And I've done all this just to keep varmints out. I'm not super concerned about it up here this close to the house, but we do still have some critters running around, and the Great Pyrenees will keep the majority of them out. But we're doing this just in case a critter sneaks in while the Great Pyrenees are asleep, and keep our animals protected. And these are not the prettiest boards by no means, but they will get the job done. I didn't worry too much about defects in the board, because this is just, you're not going to see it from outside the barn. Some bark edges, nothing can get through that crack though, at least that we have around here. We'll probably nail these next few up on just the bottoms, and then I'll jump on the ladder and nail the top in place. We're going to fall just short of what we need, but that's fine. We'll run back to the sawmill in a bit and cut the rest of what we need, which is more than likely just one board lengthwise, because it busts down into these smaller boards here. I mean, this nail gun, no more than I've used it, I've absolutely fell in love with it. It will shoot the nails just as fast as I can pull the trigger. And whether it's softwood, hardwood, I hadn't found anything yet. It fires the nail consistently every time. My pass load did not do that. And this one will bury it just as good and oak as it does this softwood. On the softwood, I make sure to get my depth control exactly where I want it, because that joker will straight send it home. Now, what we'll do is, I wrote down the measurement of that last board. I'll come back once I have those 3 boards cut to install them. And then as far as finishing this side, I'm not going to video cutting the metal because I use a circular silo with a special metal cutting blade on it. It's extremely loud. I don't even like cutting them here by myself, let alone trying to get rid of the noise on the video. So we won't video cutting it, but I'll come back when I install those panels. They're 3 foot wide. It won't take long to install those. And then once that bottom's done and this top side's done in wood, all we have left is the front to do, which I've got my post toe diggers out already. We'll dig a hole here, frame out the doorway, and then finish the front edge here. We'll bring some sawdust up as a bedding in the bottom of this stall, and we'll be ready to put some chickens in here. But we'll come back once we have the lumber and metal ready to go on this side. So in saving money, we use old telephone poles that have been struck by cars and tore up, and we cut them down into good usable treated lumber. Now I'm not saying do this by no means, but instead of paying ridiculous price at the lumber store, we're using something that's going to end up not in a landfill, and it should last a long time because utility poles are treated pretty much through and through, and they've got a lot higher treating rating on them than what you could typically get at the store. So what I've done is I've just cut down into standard size 4x4, and this slot you're seeing here, I actually put it back on the mill. It was already cut into 4x4, but I put it on the mill to take out a section of wood. I'm going to cut this off right here, and what we do is this part will actually get planted in the ground, and then the 2x4s that I've cut will mate into this board, and I will scab this up because the pressure treating only matters what's in the ground and a few inches above it. So no deeper than this one's going to be. There'll be a good foot and a half of wood above the ground level before I get into this untreated wood, and it works out extremely well, saves a lot of money, and has been great for us so far. But we'll go ahead and take this scab off. And I'm just going to eyeball this. I mean, it don't have to be perfect by no means. We'll make it as close as we can. Well, matter of fact, here's a piece from last time I did this. We'll put this in here as a sacrificial backstop. That way we can keep it square back of the saw. Then I'll just take that piece out. Our non-treated board will sit on this ledge. Don't look like I cut it quite deep enough, so there'll be a little overhang, but that won't hurt anything. And then we'll marry this up to the top. And you can see what I mean by this one that I've previously done. You can see where we put the wood in place, the non-treated wood. So we'll just throw that in the hole for now, and I'll go ahead and get my dimension on the 2x4 that mates to the back of this. That way we can go ahead and plumb this and get our width set to be able to set our doorway width. It's 55 inches to the top from the base of our wood. So we'll go ahead and cut a 2x4, 55 inches. Now with this being rough cut lumber, you do always have to square up the ends, which is a small price to pay, but you're cutting lumber for free yourself, it's well worth it. We'll go ahead and pull 55 inches. And then the piece we have left over will be the front side of this beam. I got a few 16 penny nails here. It should be good enough to get us started. I'll take these 8 penny nails out. Turn the go juice back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and just scab this board onto this before we do any measurements of plumbing or anything. Before I forget, this end hadn't been squared up, so we need to take it back to the chop saw and square that end up, or our 2x4 won't fit properly on the front side. Small things like that will drive you crazy, make you run back and forth 100 times. Still a little cool out here. We're, I think, starting winter finally. It's a little chilly. So I'm put 3 nails in that for now, because what we're going to do is we're going to set our plumbing width. I'm going to do 36 inches wide, and the reason I'm doing 36, I was going to smack on the money, 36 right there. The reason I'm doing 36 is, one, I like a wide doorway, but when we go to clean stalls or add sawdust into the stall, I can bring my wheelbarrow through the door and I don't have to fight it or shovel sawdust. What I'm doing is I'm setting the plumb front to back right now. So we're plumb front to back. We're plumb side to side. And of course, I'm getting the call. All right, back from that phone call. So we're set plumb front to back, side to side. We're just gonna make sure we've got our 36 inches still. While I'm at this, I'm gonna make a mark where I'm at just in case it moves. Now I'm at 36. And we're spot on right there. Got any better, it would be dangerous. So I'm gonna nail this. Oh, run out of nails. Well, I got 2 in it, that'll be good enough for now. And then what we'll do is, better not hang that there. I'll hang it over here on this wire. Now the last piece to complete this post, other than putting some extra nails in it, is I'm going to cut this remaining piece, and it's going to be 26 and 5, a little shy of 5/8. 26, a little shy of 5/8. We're just going to cut it a 1/16 short and make sure it fits without having to beat it in. These are short nails here, or short racks. They'll work just as good as the long racks. I'm glad I went a 1/16 short on that. That was a pretty snug fit there. So that's what I do to make my own post with the bottom band pressure treated. Our doorway is now set. This will finish framing this in, put some wire up, bring the metal for the building on around, do the fascia, which the fascia is not important to this project, but as far as getting this project done, we'll put the metal around the bottom, finish the wood up top and the back, build our door, and finish out the front here. We're gonna get as much done on it as we can today, but we've got rain coming tomorrow, and I don't know how much more we're gonna be able to get done today. We'll get as much done as we can today before night sets in, and I've got other previous engagements I gotta go to finish the day off. But we'll go ahead and get some more of this fixed up, and at least maybe try to get the framework in and maybe get a section of the wire up. So with keeping the way I've set the rest of the building up, this board is perfect plumb or level, and I've set the remaining portions of this build off that point. So the height is all going to be dictated off this corner. Now this board's bowed just a hair. We'll straighten it out. I'm gonna lay my gun down in the mud. All right. These grip right nails, some reason when I start my first rack of them, they always have trouble starting. I didn't nail that many nails in that piece. It just, I started with a new rack of nails and it did not want to fire properly. Make sure we're in level. Almost perfect right there. Make sure we got plenty of nails in there in case I ever stick another animal in there other than a chicken. So that's the doorway framed in. What we're going to do is we're going to continue this metal around the front to the doorway, and then once we build out the last stall there that the sheep's in now, we'll have this outside all nice, neat and finished the way we want it to look. Now as far as framing, the only thing I have left is I got to run one more board from here across and tie it in, and once it's tied in, I can then run a little strip of metal around through here, so the decorative look on the exterior of our buildings the way that it is in our plans, or rather what we want it to look like. But for now, we're gonna call it here for today, and we'll come back in another video finishing this process up and putting the chickens in there. It's taking a little longer than I anticipated, but I'm also just now getting back up to speed. I had a cold for a few days, and it's still pretty chilly out, and I don't want to get sick again, and we don't really have that much time left in the day, so we're just gonna call it a stop here, and we're at a pretty good stopping point. I'm happy with what I've got done. At least the biggest part is setting the doors out of the way. I always dread that. And you can see the pine boards in here actually turned out, looks really nice with those boards. And then we've got 3 more we'll put in here. I've got the metal cut, and we'll put that metal on the next video, and next day we're working on this. And we'll finish out the front and build our door. I'll try to go ahead and get the lumber cut that we need to fit, or to make that doorway with, because I'm pretty certain I'm gonna do it out of oak. May do it out of pine, I don't know yet. I'll think on that, and we'll go from there. But until the next video, appreciate you watching.